Hi, this is Julie Thompson reporting from IAB's MIXX Conference during Advertising Week in New York. I'm here with John Norman, EVP, Partner, and Creative Director from the Martin Agency. Welcome, John.
Thank you very much for having me.
John, you're known as a visual storyteller. Tell us about that and what that means.
Well, I think it's people tell stories with words or pictures, and now technology. And I grew up telling stories with visuals. I grew up as a designer. And have been able to transition into advertising and now into sort of this kind of, at least faking it pretty much, into the technology world.
Hardly faking it. John's one of the most awarded creatives in our business. Tell us about, obviously the story today has been about story building, storytelling. How do you think the creative world can live up to its potential in this new digital world?
Well, in my session, I talked about the approach that's worked for me in the past is, and still today, is just assume you don't know everything, because this world changes so fast. Stories are getting realigned and reformed every day, and I think that the only way the stories can really hold gravity and hold their true meaning is if it comes from a core brand insight. If the brand story is true, everything can be built around that story. And be told out through many, many different parts of the media.
How do you know something you've done online is effective?
Well, this goes back to more of a traditional premise in communication, but Dan Wyden once said, I think it was one of the best comments ever, is that we build fans, not consumers. So once we do something in any medium, in any sort of traditional, non-traditional form, if that person has an emotional connection and has a brand loyalty and something comes out of it and they share it and they become a believer, then that's the only way you're going to know. That's the true test. I mean, I'm not going to talk testing, but at the end of the day, it is your gut reaction, your feeling of how that brand makes you feel.
That's great. Now, one thing I've loved, as a former agency person myself, I've loved the Agency Infusion this year at MIXX. Tell me what that's meant for you with the Martin Agency co-programming, and tell me about it. I
think that's really important. I think the great thing about this year, at least from what I've heard from the past sessions, is that we're never going to get this conversation right until both technology and the communication or advertising world have probably a deeper mutual respect for each other and understand what we're up against, because they're polar opposites. I mean, one's a pragmatic, pure math world, and one's an art and sciences world. And so, and they can live together. There's a lot of common denominators, and it's finding those certain formulas that work and highlighting them and making the work come out through that avenue.
Well, it just seems like getting all the parts to work together, like when Jonathan Mildenhall this morning from Coca-Cola said they needed to establish really strong relationships with the technology companies, but also the agencies need to do so as well.
Well, Jonathan, I remember when I was in Wieden Kennedy in Amsterdam, Jonathan briefed us on, he would always brief us and say, don't give me TV first. Don't show me TV at all. Figure the idea out where people pass it along and share it, and that was 5 years ago now. So I think Coca-Cola in particular, and Jonathan, and the people that work around and with him, have a pretty good sense of where content's going. I mean, it is content, and conveniently they're calling it liquid content, and it is that. It is very organic.
Great. Well, John, thank you so much for taking the time, and now we'll go back into the sessions.
All right, thanks a lot. Take care.